So hello and welcome to the Expat Pod. Welcome to the shorter Quickfire questions version. If you haven't already seen the full episode with Delicia, you can find it somewhere by my head now on YouTube if you're watching. Else go look through whatever podcasting app you want and give it a listen. Now Delicia, this is where I ask my guests just some really fun quick questions just to get a kind of flavour of their experience of living abroad, so the listeners can enjoy a kind of teaser to the main episode or just get some quick advice on places they want to visit or live. So my first question is, what's your favourite place you've ever lived?
What was my favorite place I ever lived? Santa Cruz, California.
Why is that? Why Santa Cruz? What's so special about that place?
It is so special. It's right by the ocean, and it's a town full of hippies in the middle of a redwood forest. And, it's just, the people here are amazing. Weather is amazing. Actually had snow one day and sun the next. So its location is central to San Francisco. It's 5 hours away. I can fly to Vegas in an hour. So it's just, I love Santa Cruz more than any place on the planet. And I'm happy and elated that I can call it home.
Wonderful. I have to try and get over there and check it out at some point. What's your favourite international food?
That is a good question. Easy answer, though. Raclette. I love raclette. I tried it for the first time ever in Switzerland at the Raclette, which I was telling you about, the anarchy place. And we went one night and they were having a special raclette, and they had the real style Swiss raclette, though, where with a giant cheese and the machine that they had to roll over and then scraping the cheese onto the veggies. And it was I wrote about it in my book. That's how much that experience meant to me. Thank you, Ollie.
Yeah, I heard in France with you have these little metal pan things and you put them under a little heater and it melts and you put them in potatoes. It's not as theatrical as yours, but still delicious nonetheless.
Yeah, it's delicious. And I am a cheese lover.
Oh yeah, well cheese is you're in the right place for Swiss and just Central Europe in general has just got ridiculously good cheese.
Cheese and chocolate are my two favorite things, so there you have it.
And there's good beer too, which hops might not help you with, I suppose. What's your favourite international tradition?
What I love is the Christmas markets in Europe. I think it's just so amazing.
Well, what about them is so good? Is it the pretzels or the...
Well, I have a gluten allergy, so it might be the pretzels if I didn't, but I don't like the taste of the mead, but the hot cider that they have and just the whole gathering of people, and Christmas is my favorite holiday, and the fact that Europe is always just so magical at Christmas time. It's just... yeah, either that or it would have to be New York at Christmas time, Manhattan.
Is it for the parade?
No, the Rockefeller Center with the big tree in the middle of it and the ice skaters are skating all around it. It's just and the what do you call them? The Rockettes. They do like a holiday spectacular, and let me tell you, it is spectacular. Santa Claus is flying around the room, and it's amazing. It's like they have a double-decker bus that opens up on the stage, and I don't want to give away too much, but it's spectacular. So, yeah, I would say that or the Christmas markets in Europe are...
great for different reasons, right? The American is just a wonderful place. But the Europe's a bit more traditional, but also equally as spectacular, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think to me it's more about the feeling of joy that I get, rather than the specific items that I am obtaining during that time.
Yeah, it reminds me of Home Alone 2, I imagine, in Rockefeller Center. What's your favourite thing about living abroad?
The people just are so different than Americans. And I felt like before I left, I was living in LA and in Hollywood area. And I'm a very friendly person, but when you smile at somebody on the streets of Los Angeles, it's not taken always the best way. It's not like, you get a smile and a hello back. You sometimes are looked at like you're some sort of crazy homeless person, like, oh, why is this person talking to me kind of thing. So when I went to Europe, and the people were so friendly when I would say hi, and people would say hi, and some of them would actually start conversations, and maybe we'd go into a bar and have a drink together, and Like, I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I mean, I have experienced that here in America, just not in Los Angeles where I was coming from, but I've experienced that in places like Maine before and stuff, smaller towns.
Yeah, completely. I guess it's usually the smaller the population, the more kind of community they are. Usually, anyway, it's the trend I've seen with my travels. But
Yeah, absolutely. I was hiking in my neighborhood and there's somebody who has a sign that says, trespassers welcome. Please come in and say hi or something like that.
what's your best homesickness remedy?
Coming home? I mean, I couldn't really find any while I was in Switzerland it was the only time in my life that I had felt homesickness like that. And I think the only thing that would have helped it is coming home. And unfortunately, like I said, I got sick and I was forced to come home. It was really the only thing that, I mean, maybe if I could have, I don't think anything would have helped, honestly, other than that.
Yeah, it's I guess it's the luxury of being abroad and coming from, usually Western countries that you can always go back. And at least you've tried it and did it and gone, well, I didn't regret it because I went, and that's all you can do. And you needed to come home, right? So that's all that matters. Well done you for taking the punt and going. And I guess my next question leads on from that is, so what's the hardest thing about living abroad?
I think the most difficult thing for me was missing my mom. Not necessarily my whole family, but my mom and my cat. I mean, once I moved there, I had my cat with me. So that solved that problem. But I missed my mom like there was no tomorrow. Like I never thought I would miss my mom that much. I mean, I felt like all I wanted to do was crawl back into her womb.
Yeah, I guess it's so far away and time zones aren't good and things. It's difficult to have the conversations and be able to call each other, and it's not free either.
Yeah, and the time difference, and being that she was a teacher, and I mean, it was tough, and we didn't have video calling back then, so that was something that didn't exist. It was a phone call, and that's it. You could hear the voice, but you couldn't see the person, and so I think nowadays that probably makes a huge difference, being able to see somebody, talk to them versus just talking to them on the phone.
But yeah, completely. But when in the winter when I was in Sweden, my girlfriend and I would do yoga together on our iPads, and we would screen share a YouTube video and do yoga with Adrian. That would be our evening plans. It was great, and I was more flexible then. So it was so much fun. What's the best phrase you've learned whilst living abroad? Probably in German, I guess, or Swiss German.
Actually, the best phrase I learned was while traveling abroad, not living abroad, but and it was Australian, and I love it to this day. I'll still use it wrong, and I don't care, but it's good on ya. I love that saying. And I would go around Australia because I loved it so much, and people would say, like, how you doing today? And I'd be like, good on ya. People would look at me like, what? This lady's crazy, but I don't know what it means, but I love it. I mean, I think it just means, like, good for you kind of thing, but I love that saying. It's fantastic.
I think we use it quite a bit in the UK as well, like good on you. But we say you rather than yeah.
Good on ya.
But yeah, it's exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's like, well done you, or like, keep going, or it's just enjoy
it. Good for you. Right on. Keep going, And I use it completely wrong, but it's okay. It's
you can make a use for it, words change meaning all the time, right?
Yeah, so. And of course the Swiss German has its own language, so I don't know if the Swiss German is a lot more melodic than regular German, and they don't, the way they say I love you is ich ha dich gern, which I really like, super sweet too. So
what's your best way of making new friends?
Wow. Nowadays it's really hard, like you said, like we were talking about, not working in an office, and Meetup is really kind of the best way, I think, to go about it nowadays. But way back when I traveled, like I said, it was no technology, so people actually had to talk to each other and converse, and it was a different way of connecting, and I feel like it was a lot more genuine, and you knew that the person you were talking to is the person you're talking to because they're right in front of your face, versus nowadays, catfish and all the other BS that's out there. So I don't know. I think Meetup is the best way nowadays. But back then it was just good old genuine, like hang out. And that's why I love traveling by myself, because I would meet so many more people being by myself. You know, it was just, it like opened the door for people to come up and say hello to me. And I'm an introvert. So that's kind of what it takes, is for people to come up and say hello to me. And then I'll talk your ear off. But
I think that's why youth hostels still work, because you kind of still kind of throw it in with a bunch of random people, and you're going to have to speak to them because you're sharing a kind of cohabited space. So it's one thing that's kind of stood the test of time for travelers to socialize, perhaps.
yeah, absolutely. And I hope that people can put their phones down more and do more of that, because really it was a beautiful time and genuine connection with people that I'm still connected to 30 years later. You know, I mean, we're still friends. I mean, I talked to Ollie this week, actually, on WhatsApp. So, yeah, it's something we are missing, I think, in today's technological.
Yeah, it brings us together, but then separates us when you're close. It's kind of that kind of opposite effect, perhaps. But what's the best thing to do in your new city? So your new home. So what's your favorite thing to do where you live now?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. They have some great farmers markets. I love just taking walks down the beach on Westcliff. We have this amazing street called Westcliff that kind of hugs the shore of the ocean. And on one side it has the ocean, on the other side it has some really nice houses that you can dream about. We also have a beach boardwalk, which is really fun to go to here. And then I just love going downtown. There's always something to do here. You can never get bored. And you go downtown and there's, buskers all over the place. And it's always entertaining in downtown Santa Cruz. That's all I could say.
I have to add it to my bucket list for sure. And my last question then is, what's your best expat life hack?
Keep connection with people and with your friends back home and with your family. And also, go out there and explore and make new connections and try new foods. And you might find something that you blows your mind, that you love, just be open to. Yeah, I mean, I've had some incredible experiences that I realized, I wrote about in my books, that if I hadn't have opened myself up to these experiences, I would have never been able to have them. And there were experiences that remain special and untouched, and that I've never been able to even come close to, 30 years down the line. So it's just open up and be open and go about life with love, not hate. That's all I could say.
That's a great way of ending the podcast. What a wonderful kind of answer. And as always, please do go check out Delicia's books. They'll be linked below. And hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast and got some amazing tips and amazing advice, and just enjoyed the conversation as I've had as well. And if you haven't yet, go listen to the full episode. It is available wherever you're listening to this, I suppose. And we'll see you next time for the Expat.